we had some crazy rain last night, so the creek sounds more like a river. Anyway, let's go see if we can work on a lawnmower. Okay, the lawnmower horde is a little bit smaller. I fixed 2 of these. There are 2 over here that I fixed the last couple days. It's all been really easy, so I think it's time to work on this John Deere. It's got some cracked plastic here. Hopefully we can fix that. But this looks like it's in decent shape. It's got a bagger, so that's always a plus. Let's pull this out and we'll give it a try. Oh yeah, it's got this makeshift side cover. That looks pretty bad. We'll see if we can get creative with that, or maybe we'll just leave it. Or I'll see if opening it up, you know, getting rid of that rubber, maybe that will make more sense. Alright, we got to get this thing out of the shed so we can work on that John Deere. Hopefully soon I'll be able to release the video on this Yamaha Big Bear, but I got to get it running first. So that's a little sneak peek at what in the world I'm doing with this thing. This thing is frustrating, but she's got to go. We got to get it out of the shed, and it's not easy to move. All right. I do have an extension cord that comes out to my shed here, but this is a solar powered fan. It's pretty cool, so I use that a lot in the summer. Alright, let's give this a once over. That oil looks like it's maybe just a little past full. We have moisture, a lot of moisture, but no gas. That's interesting. And let's take a look underneath here. Okay, we got a blade, we have a belt. Looks all right. Here's that rubber here. From what I can feel, the hole seems normal. Gotta wonder if you can adapt a chute on there. I might have one. It would probably look better than whatever that person did to that thing. But overall, this is pretty good. I mean, obviously it's got some chip paint here where it always does, but I wonder in my paint collection if I have any John Deere green left. Ah. There you go. That feels like a quarter of a can. So that might be enough to make that look a little better. That is if the green matches, because John Deere I think has a couple different shades of green, which is a little frustrating, but we'll try it out. Alright, let's put you on the tripod, put a little gas in here, see if the thing starts up. I'm going to blow this out with the air hose and just see if I can get some of that moisture to dry up before I put gas in it. Okay, that looks a lot better. There you go. Looks bone dry now. I think that was just gasoline in there, just a little bit left. So, alright, let's, now we'll put some gas in there. We do have a spark plug in. Doesn't seem like there's any prime. Nothing for throttle controls here at the handle, so just gonna be going. Alright, here we go. there you go, it doesn't start. I don't see any smoke. No signs of life. So, you know, what could it be? Spark, fuel. Right, it seems like there's compression, so that's good. All right, let's dive in. Wow. Soaked. That's disgusting. And a pre-filter. Woo! Okay, well maybe we'll try a little bit of carb spray in there. See if we get a better result. Okay, that's a great sign. So, we got spark, we got compression. Seems like a fuel issue for sure. I'm sure we're going to be cracking into that carb. That's going to be the only way to fix that. I'm just going to give that a few more sprays, see if I get lucky here, but we'll see what happens. Whoa. A rock or something was under there. Yeah, that carb's got to be cleaned. Alright, we'll pop that carb off. Speaking of cleaned, we'll put it on the workbench here, and we'll show you how I clean the carbs. Here's our filthy carburetor. Just covered in gunk. Thick gunk. And it's slimy. Let's get this bowl nut off. Not much gas is coming out. Just tells us the fuel inlet might be clogged or the needle and seat might be stuck. Whew, oh no, there's some more coming out. Ooh, and it got gross too. I wish we saw that at the bottom of the bowl. Pop. There we go. Can you see that huge bit of water in there? So you got some like orange gas around the outside. You can kind of see it's orange, and then in the middle is this like bean shape huge drop of water. Yeah, and I can even see it on the towel there. Alright. Yeah, I could still see beads of water in the bowl. This thing is dirty. Alright, needle came right out. It's one of the metal tip ones, so there's a rubber seat in there. I think I have some replacements of those if needed, although it looks pretty good. I can see down in there. Whew, alright. Let's start blowing this out with some carb cleaner. Let's see here. I'm going to get a little pick. So just using this pick to like remove stuff like this. Look at that. Just a piece of sludge right there in the fuel pickup. All sorts of grit in there. Nasty. There we go. I know this could benefit from an ultrasonic cleaner, but you know, I got a full can of carb cleaner, so let's go for it. I got a little toothbrush I can clean with too. Obviously cleaning the outside isn't the problem here, but it just helps to get rid of as much grit as you can. And it does sometimes bind up the choke and the throttle linkages, so might as well get it done, right? Okay, let's blow this out a little bit with some air. We can use some of these torch tip cleaners. And there's not much to get after on these simple carbs, but you know, I could tell all these passages are clear, but just trying here. Try a little bit more carb cleaner, especially in these little holes. Oh yeah, that's flowing. Yep. Okay, that's looking clean to me. Let's look at the bowl here. Nasty in there. Wipe that out with a towel. Look at the outside. Filthy. Get all the slime off the float. Everything just feels slimy. Alright, let's reassemble. Hang the needle. Drop it in. Use the pin. I usually like to just blow a little bit with my mouth into there and make sure that this needle and seat are working properly. Yeah, and they're perfect. Alright, hope that gasket, that O-ring's gonna hold up. Alright, look at this. It's pretty grimy too. And there is a passage on these. There we go. So let's make sure that this is flowing correctly. Try not to get it in my eyeballs. There we go. If this carb leaks, I'm not going to be surprised. None of these gaskets look real good. Okay, how's that look? Let's install it. Okay, we got the carb cleaned, put back on. It was filthy. Not just the carb, everything around the carb was filthy. Let's give this thing a few pulls, see if it starts. See smoke. Not a good sign. Jeez, even with carb spray. We got it running. I gotta see if it'll restart. It's not running perfectly smooth, and you hear all this like tinking and cracking. What's going on is it's spitting out acorns from underneath, especially when I engage the drive wheels. So drive wheels work, so that's good. All right, let's check the oil, make sure we do have enough oil in there, and we'll run it a little bit and see what happens. So we have some pretty terrible conditions to mow grass in. Everything's soaking wet and the grass is really thick. I think this thing has really dull blades and it seems like the RPMs are a bit low. And the grass is really getting hung up trying to come out into the chute. I mean, of course I had that flap down, but like, you know, it's trying to spit through a lot of grass. Let's see if we can bring the RPMs up a little bit. We'll sharpen the blades, put that bag back on, see if it does any better. All right, here's the way to get a little bit more RPM out of your engine on a lawnmower like this. There's a spring right here, and it's got a metal tab. Sorry, hard to see for you. The spring, here's a tab, and all you're gonna do is get some pliers and just bend that tab and push it that way so the spring has more tension. And you gotta be careful because you could overdo it for sure, but you'll hear it in the RPM. So now that's considerably tighter. Let's start it up. Pretty nice. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. Seemed a little bit high. But yeah, that engine's got plenty of power. So that's good. Alright, let's sharpen this blade. Pretty interesting shaped blade. At first glance it looks like there's something wrong with it, but that's how it is. This blade is actually in great shape. Here's the cutting edge. Here's the other side. Yeah, very interesting shape with this little cutout here. But nothing's broken. That's how John Deere wants it, I guess. Heavy duty too, really thick. Got this thing on the vise. Been using this flapper disc. I like this for sharpening blades. I've seen people using it, but before I was just using like a grinder disc. But this makes it pretty easy. Pretty happy with that. This is one heavy duty blade. Wow. Glad it's in good shape. Let's put it back on. While we're here, might as well do the oil. And that's looking pretty weird. So we're getting a pretty good service done on this thing. Oh, I do have a new air filter in there. I had a couple on the shelf in here, so got a new air filter, sharpened blades. We're gonna do the oil. Take a look at that spark plug. We'll clean all this up. I'm really leaning towards just leaving this because in order to have the bagger be effective, you really need that chute to be covered, so something's missing from there. Obviously that's why that person put that rubber on there, and it's doing the job. It's not pretty. It's definitely gonna knock this down a notch or two as far as value goes. We'll clean this up pretty good, and then we'll see if we do want to bother painting. Maybe a little hit of spray paint here or there. You know, can't go too crazy. But yeah, I think this is going to work out just fine. Oh yeah, and then we have got this to do, and this is really not a big deal. The plastic just cracked here. I might try plastic welding it. I could do super glue. I just not a big fan of super glue. It doesn't always work. So maybe I'll try the super glue first. And we'll go from there. Okay, let's test this again. We got fresh gas, clean carb, we got sharp blades, fresh oil, and increased RPM. Let's see if this thing cuts any better. The bag is empty, by the way, too. No grass in the bag, so let's see what happens. Well, you heard it. It bogged and shut off. So I could try a little bit more with the RPM because I did back it down. Maybe I'll bring it back up a little bit. I could mess around with the spark plug. I don't have any valves I can adjust. Yeah, we'll try a new spark plug and a little bit more RPM. Okay, we're back again. I didn't have a new RJ19LM spark plug, so I threw in another old one, another used one, whatever. Increased the RPM. I took the bag off and lifted up the chute just to see if this wet, thick grass was bogging this thing down. 2 or 3 passes and that bag was half full of really wet grass. So it's just gross out today. Let's see if this makes a difference. All right, you got to be pretty happy with that. So something made a big difference, and I think mostly it's the fact that the grass was clogging this thing up, and that's why it was stalling out. So I think the RPMs help a little bit, and I could probably even go more, just a tad. But this thing moves pretty good. Smoking off some things. All right, we clearly got to use this thing a bit more. It probably needs a pressure wash, but then again, it's not going to want to run after that, so I'm going to run this a little bit more just to keep testing it. But I'm liking where we're going. I think this is going to be just fine. Okay, I've been mowing with it. It's doing good, but it's not quitting smoking, and the smoke is coming off from the top of the engine. So I bet there's a mouse nest in there. So I'm going to pop that cover off, and we'll see what's going on in there. Well, it started really running like garbage, and I've been messing around with a lot of different things, but I finally found an actual issue. You can see that crack in the intake. I'm going to get this magneto off and then the intake off, and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, here's what we got. For some reason, a cracked intake. I don't know how that happened. Probably was there before I started working on it, and then just slowly got worse and worse. Pretty interesting stuff. I gotta look around to see if I have this. I might, but I don't know. Kind of a weird part to have, so let me do some digging. It's a couple days later, and pay no attention to that snapper in the background. That's an overlapping video here, a little sneak peek, but I got a carb coming for that thing. Anyway, this has the cracked intake, and I'm glad to have found a problem with it, because otherwise you're just banging your head up against the wall trying to figure it out. But alright, so here's the intake. Cracked, of course, really terribly. And, you know, I experimented with some types of glue and even some RTV, and I knew that wasn't going to work. I just wanted to see, but I ordered a new part, so be gentle with it. Alright, we got a OEM Briggs intake manifold, or intake, whatever you want to call it. But let's open this up. So here's a new one. It comes with bolts and a gasket, which is nice, but it does not come with an O-ring. So here's the O-ring sitting on the old manifold, and I could reuse that because it doesn't look terrible, but I do have this Harbor Freight special, and so I just picked one out of there. So I'm going to use this new O-ring on that, and I'm going to scrape the old gasket, or just at least peel it, get it out of there. The old gasket's on the engine, so let's get this installed and assemble the engine. Total disaster, right? With these Briggs Quantums, these Got the rear fuel tank, get the shroud, you get the secondary cover shroud, all sorts of things that need to come off to get access to this. So yeah, here's the, see how that comes right off. Okay, so there's the old gasket, throw that away. Let's get this put back together. Okay, intake manifold installed, all put back together. You ready for the moment of truth? Let's see if that really was the issue with this thing all along. That sounds amazing to me. All right, let's go mow. Let's make sure this thing is fixed. All right, I'd say that's fixed. It just ran without a single hiccup and it mowed like you would expect. Didn't cut out, didn't feel like it was bogging down. This is nearly full. So I think I got the RPMs of the engine just right. Everything feels good about this now. So, oh, I didn't show you. Fix that. All right, so I'm gonna clean this up, just polish it a bit, and we'll get this listed for sale. I think we're done. All finished up, got it polished up, and took some pictures for Facebook Marketplace. It took a couple days, but I'm glad we got this thing sorted out, and I'm glad in a way that it was an intake manifold. That was the issue with this, because it does explain most of the run issues I was experiencing. So all the stalling and bogging down, pretty typical of a massive air leak. Let's give it one more startup for you. Thanks again for watching. This is Kyle by the Creek. Thanks for the support of the channel, your likes and subscribes, appreciate it. And we fixed another mower, got it listed for sale, had a lot of fun doing it and learned some things, especially about cracked intakes. All right, hope you join me next time. We'll be working on something new, probably a couple lawnmowers.